Hello again, everyone! I wanted to quickly show you some screenshots that we've gotten for Scribblenauts Showdown and analyze them because, as my bad luck would have it, the video I did explaining more beyond the trailer yesterday came out just as these screenshots went public, so the timing wasn't wonderful to include them all together. But here we have the Scribblenauts.com website, and you can see many of the features I talked about in the Everything We Know So Far video, but also you can see a lot of the imagery on the website, including the gallery of screenshots. We'll dive into that, but I can tell you that we know at least half of the locations or settings you'll be playing in for the Showdown mode, which is seemingly like Mario Party or Wii Party U because it takes place on a board game styled map as you go along to play the party mini games. A screenshot from within the gallery, specifically screenshot 8, by their file names, shows the bottom half of the map where I presume you'll start, but what about all the ones we can't see above it? Well, getting back to the Scribblenauts website, you can see with the images and information all over the place after scrolling down just a bit, notice that when I take a screenshot of this part of the page and combine the top and bottom halves of it, and just darken up all of the non-relevant parts right now that I want to see, it turns out that the map is actually behind all the information and screenshots right here. So if we start from the bottom and go up top to see these locations, you can first see from screenshot 8 in the gallery that the first area has an Olympics-like stadium down below, with a town environment up above that actually has some locations I can probably decipher in some of the other screenshots in the website's gallery. It's my belief that this screenshot here, called screenshot 1, is in this building here that says BBQ. Should be obvious because it also says BBQ inside for barbecue, obviously. We'll examine what these minigames could actually be played like in a little bit, but I want to jump back to the map again. Screenshot 14 from the website's gallery is here, and I think it's in this building here because it looks kind of like one of those old school diners, maybe like Greece, but on the map you can even see a male glutton. Yeah, that's actually what you can type in Scribblenauts to spawn that guy, standing out in the front of it. Screenshot 2 from the website gallery looks like it could be taking place possibly in this Hollywood-like club area because it has a disco ball on top of it, maybe, and there's a disco ball above the dance floor here. The file names for the screenshots seem to jump around from 2 to 5 right here, so this is screenshot 5, obviously on a beach, but notice the ship and the lighthouse in the background, making me obviously think they'd be close to this harbor-looking area with a similar lighthouse. Again, file names jump around on the website gallery, and this one is screenshot 7. A bit harder to pinpoint exactly where it'd be on the map, but my two guesses would be here and here. Most likely being closer to that Hollywood-like club and the water, just because of the reddish-brown coloring and landscape in this area. It's really kind of a bit of an awkward space to put stuff around there though, but I think this is likely. Screenshot 8 is the map screenshot, so we'll jump to number 9, which could also be in the barbecue joint because of the chef's hat on the pig and all, or possibly in the castle at the very top, like maybe you're cooking for the royal king and queen or something like that, I don't know. Jump to the next one, which is screenshot 11, which probably occurs around here because this is the only area at least that we can see from the full map image I created that looks green, but also filled with buildings all pretty close together. Screenshot 12 is probably within the stadium or coliseum, just going out on a limb here. Screenshot 13 really looks awesome with this samurai and ninja atmosphere with pagoda designs and things like that, but we don't really see this blatantly on the map, and I'll tell you why. This appears to be a screenshot of the creative sandbox mode, which as I explained in the previous video is more like the Scribblenauts games that we know and love from the past, and not the whole party minigame type thing. We can deduce this from a couple of things, but the most obvious to me was that they said it could be for up to 2 players. In the top right, you can see the minus sign to join icon there. So that's the biggest giveaway for me, but also the fact that there are just a lot of humans and humanoids on the map, as well as some creatures or monsters that often have an emote bubble above them indicative of the usual Scribblenauts games of old, where they're feeling something and they need you to solve whatever it is. In Scribblenauts Unlimited, as one example of the old formula, you could do little puzzle missions to collect starite shards, and then there were more grand missions that took a little longer in several parts to gain a whole starite. Well, this game could be similar, but I don't have definitive evidence just yet, although look at this screenshot 13 that we're stuck on here. The Buddha statue, this shrine, the Yeti, the Tengu, they all have a starite icon above them. Contrast with, say, this geisha the sensei, this Chinese dragon, the tourist, the red panda, and this guy between two monks. All as examples of characters, all with a different emote bubble above them. They could all be the smaller types of one-off missions. There's a lot going on in that screenshot, and it could be picked apart even more, but I'll leave some of it for when the game comes out. But one last thing to note, the size of this level is pretty big, but not a whole lot bigger than Scribblenauts Unlimited. It's more in the same vein of Scribblenauts Unmasked levels, especially ones that have multiple levels of height. I said in the last video, and I'll say it again, they probably really put the emphasis and effort into the party games or mini games, because this does not seem like an enormous level, despite it being a bit bigger than Unlimited levels probably from what we can see here. There's a lot to solve, I suppose, but if there's only 8 levels like this in the sandbox creative mode, then again, I feel it'll probably be lacking. But alright, back to the other screenshots like screen 14, and this appears to be in that Greece old school diner based on the color schemes and the layout of it. And then finally, we have screen 15, which is difficult to determine where exactly it would be, but I presume it's also around that town area from before or in some spot that we can't see, hidden from the information on the website's images of information and all that. Now, if we go back through to analyze the screenshots and decide what the goal of the minigames is for each one, we'll first check out screen 1 in the barbecue joint, and we have someone throwing up, clearly. There's even a meter up at the top next to each of the names that's like a barfometer. The person throwing up has a meter that's completely full, whereas the other person is about 3/4 of the way there. Also, I'm sure you guys saw, but this pretty much confirms that a computer can take the place of one or more players, unless that's a human who actually named themselves CPU. Not likely. But the point of the minigame, seemingly to make the other person puke, is a bit hard to tell exactly how it's executed and played, but my guess here is that you basically have to type in something for the other player to eat, as disgusting as you could think of. But honestly, I don't know why someone would have picked a piano, because notice that this piano is missing the back leg and parts of it, with some chewing debris all in the grandmother's face and all that. So that's my assumption, she was eating a piano. Apparently if chainsaw beats monkey, like in the trailer, grandmother beats piano. Because it didn't make her puke, let's get that hashtag started, grandmother beats piano. But I've got to say, one of the things that I love about this level is all the other background stuff. First off, there's these plates of actual states. Florida, the Sunshine State, which it really is, says Big Eater, that's E-A-T-R, in all caps. And then below, it says Oklahoma is OK, which is also true. It's abbreviated with O and K. And it says I ate great, and of course that's like GR8. But then below those is a hole that presumably mice or rats go in and out of. Notice then in the middle background, there's a picture of Bigfoot, 2 horses, a windmill, and then Edgar, Maxwell's father. There's more around there, but we should move on. Screen 2's minigame seems pretty self-explanatory with a Dance Dance Revolution vibe, but also akin to Rayman Raving Rabbids' game where you hit the Wii remotes down in time with their icons, or shake them, along with the nunchuck. Presumably you'll do something similar with motion controls on a Joy-Con or Pro Controller, or just potentially use the joystick to move it up, down, left, or right, in time with the music, and when it shows that icon. Look at how this noob playing as Maxwell here had apparently just hit up when the signal was for down, and there's a faint red X on the screen to show that he missed the mark, like that just came up. Screenshot 5 is a Frisbee game, possibly designed like tennis and volleyball, where you're trying to make the Frisbee land on their side of the court without them catching it and throwing it back. That would be kind of an odd take on Frisbee, but don't put it past Scribblenauts. Also, you guys, what's up with the people up top? Notice that there's a head next to that broken surfboard, just a floating face, really? And then legs up here, a hula dancer torso and arms, and I guess a mouth in there too. It basically just, it looks like, it's like an invisible person. Okay, screen 7 has people using the blower to probably put out flames, or maybe even keep the fire contained but alive, because notice there are also meters for both of the players' fires, and the person to our right seems to have possibly just spawned some more firewood, while Maxwell on the left is actually using the blower. This is also a good time to note that Maxwell looks most like his Scribblenauts Unmasked appearance based on his clothing and design. Screen 8, the map seems to show Marvin as player 3 and in first place. I say this because his name is third up on the top, going left to right, but also he has a 3 above his head. Maybe if not player 3, he could be the third person in each turn rotation, like in Mario Party there's a first, second, third, and fourth person to hit the dice block. But Starrights are a trinket of achievement in Scribblenauts as a whole, and his name has a Starright with the number 1 inside it there. So it's like Maxwell's in third place, Lily is in second, Marvin in first, and Benny in fourth. This further indicates to me that they all started on that red and orange star space at the beginning and moved towards their right, about to head upwards. But Screen 9's minigame seems mostly obvious. It's based on cooking. Maybe you're just supposed to type in an ingredient and put it into this soup concoction. Each player has a meter up above, and Maxwell seems to have gotten a mushroom to add into it. Screen 10 here is clearly showing a piñata, but it's unclear whether they're both just smacking it out of turn or taking turns, and I suppose it's all just based on whomever can break the thing winning. More will need to be shown for this before we can truly tell, I'd think. Screen 11 has a person named El Presidente competing with Maxwell to blow up balloons with a pump. I'm not seeing a meter near their names or anything, so maybe it's just about who can blow up as many balloons as possible the fastest, rather than trying to keep one steady without too much air for the longest amount of time. But we'll find out. Those are just two possibilities. Screen 12 is like your Olympic hurdles run, and being that someone is on a flamingo, I wonder if you can summon something to ride on of your choice, because then there's a pirate up top and Maxwell is riding on top of it. The meters up top show a shoe with wings, presumably showing who is moving the fastest and or farthest. Screen 14 in the gallery likely shows us a game where you're like a waiter and need to bring the people their milkshakes and sodas. Maybe food is involved too somewhere, but we only see drinks in the screenshot. Maxwell is on the floor as a waiter, but then there's this crazy dryad-headed orc-like humanoid also out there. Possibly it's a game about who can get the most orders out the quickest, and they'll receive admiration from the patrons, being that instead of meters or something, there's hearts below each player's name. Maxwell at a full 5 with the CPU only having 2. Screen 15 looks to be your general tug of war. I would wonder if there's a dictionary or adjective component, but this screenshot isn't telling us if there is or isn't. I'm imagining that this is just who can mash buttons the fastest to pull the rope and beat the other person. But that's the last of the screenshots, but we can tell from the imagery that there's at least 3 or more worlds that haven't really been noted or explored through these. We still presumably haven't seen anything from this lava volcano-esque area, then also this Egyptian or possibly Middle Eastern town generally, and the space area. Although there's also potentially an underwater area, maybe Atlantis-like based on some of the images here as well. But quickly now, I want to skip to the only thing that could make or break this game for me personally, and that's the character creation. They've confirmed that you can make your own Scribblenaut, as they call it, and it says you can use hundreds of costume pieces and vehicles. I don't know what they mean by using the vehicles, like you can use vehicle parts to create your character, or you can create vehicles. I think they're saying that you can use the vehicle parts, but either way, looking at this image mostly makes me sad because you guys know that my channel is all about the object editor in Scribblenauts Unlimited, and just like Unmasked's hero creator, you can use any word in the dictionary for the most part to create an object or character overall. That leaves you with a lot of possibilities for creation. All I'm seeing from this image, however, which is currently all we've got, is that there are categories while you're creating, like the name, head, hair color, face accessory, and a section we see that says guy's clothing. Now, I know that this isn't all the categories because part of the screen is cut off where there are more off to the right side of these, but again, this makes me sad because there's only hundreds of costume pieces and vehicles rather than thousands like Unlimited's object editor, for example, as they say in their own words, but also these categories probably only have like 20 heads to choose from, or a few facial accessories, and they told us that you can unlock more as you keep playing. This means that you can't just type in whatever you want and make it appear when creating characters. You'll be limited to whatever they give you and whatever you unlock. So it's unlikely that we can make custom characters that look like Sonic the Hedgehog or Freddy Fazbear, for 2 examples, but anything you want. I even doubt that you can place things where you want them to be placed, like hats or headgear, for example. You probably can't move or tilt them to the sides or anywhere else. They probably just go right on top of the heads, front and center, taking the creative options away from us again. Face accessories probably don't go anywhere else but the face. You may be asking, why would you want something that's a face accessory to be anywhere but the face? The reason is because I use things in Scribblenauts Unlimited and Unmasked in ways that are unconventional, like putting a croissant down as teeth for Gengar, or using the bottom jaw piece of a T-Rex as part of a FNAF animatronic's mouth, as just 2 random examples. But you guys know, so I mean, as I've been saying, we really shouldn't hold our breath when it comes to creating our own custom characters in Scribblenauts Showdown, unless they somehow announce that their sandbox creative mode also allows you to open up an object editor. I really highly doubt that it will, but just putting the possibility that it's maybe been unannounced to give us some semblance of hope. But hey, if you like party games and minigame minigame collections. This game will probably focus a lot on that, and for those wanting a more old-school styled, regular Scribblenauts game, quote-unquote, you've got at least 8 levels in Showdown compared to Unlimited, which had 40, but you've probably got a stripped-down version of a regular Scribblenauts to some degree. Some people have been saying that they think that they're doing this basically in the interim to try and revive the series, and that there will be a full-fledged regular Scribblenauts sequel in the future that's more like Unlimited and Unmasked, etc. I really don't think that's true, but I hope I'm wrong. I don't believe it would happen because Scribblenauts has been missing for almost 5 years up until now, and Fifth Cell was the old studio that developed it, but now it's dissolved for the most part, and with Shiver Entertainment taking it over, there's some growing pains and changes that they just can't really get past, maybe until the next generation of consoles comes out. Maybe then there will be one that's more like the old games. I'm holding out hope, because the best we can do is just be hopeful for them and pray it's a passable Scribblenauts game, but honestly, I mean, I'll just play Mario Party or Wii Party U if I want a good minigame collection game, honestly, and those are really big shoes to fill for a franchise like Scribblenauts. But hey, you guys, I'll be uploading more footage and news as it comes through to this channel, and definitely I'll be playing the game when it comes out just so I can show it off to you guys. I'll say without a good creator feature, however, I won't continuously play it unless you guys end up loving and viewing those videos. This channel is mostly run by viewer demand anyway, so if you like it, I'll do it. But okay, I'll catch you guys on the next vid, and thanks for viewing.
Down the road of twists and turns, always anxious to see what's within. We can look ahead to the point of no return, to the rest of our lives as the spectacle begins. I've been down the road